beware of spoilers. I am Adam. So, Peacemaker. They dropped 3 episodes of Peacemaker all at once, and I like this better. I like that they give a few episodes, because I think it gives them a chance to... It's not fair to judge a show by its pilot, because a pilot has a lot of groundwork to do to, lay out the world, lay out what's going on, set everything up. So dropping it in mods of 3 gives you a great chance to, or even if it's not 3, even if they give 2, it gives a good chance to be like, okay, so, we've set everything in motion, we've set up the starting line, and everyone's kind of gone. Here's a little bit of, the continuation of the story, so we can see how these characters interact and work when they're not just setting up what the plot is going to be. And I think that works to the show's advantage a little bit, giving 3 episodes instead of just 1. What else was there with this? I'm surprised at how much I like this show. And I think part of the thing is this show so far, the only Disney Plus Marvel show that I like more than this show so far is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But besides that, everything else, this is better than every Disney Plus Marvel show. It's better than What If, it's better than Loki, it's better than Hawkeye, it's better... Because here's the thing. Peacemaker, this show was made before the Suicide Squad came out. Yeah, there were probably some reshoots. I didn't look too deeply into the production schedule, but if the show came out now, the show was definitely shot, scripted, and everything well before the Suicide Squad came out. So they had to build the show without knowing what audience reception to Suicide Squad was going to be. And that was something that, to an extent, you've heard me gripe about it on 30-minute reviews. I didn't like the fact that they were sitting here and greenlighting shows almost by algorithm. Like, okay, people like John Cena, he's gonna, response online to him as Peacemaker has been positive so far. So let's do him as, give him a spinoff. But here's the thing. I think that, this show is exceeding my expectations by a lot. And that's not to say that my expectations were so low that it being moderately okay is good. I'm saying that, it's actually a really good show. I'm really enjoying it so far out of these 3 episodes. I think that, the relationship between the characters is all really interesting. I really like that, the one girl is Amanda Waller's daughter. And seeing her be kind of the polar opposite of Amanda Waller is great. I think that I have a problem with the fact that, I understand why it is, where it's like, he's willing to kill men, women, and children in the sake of peace, and then seeing him deal with that in this episode, where he's got to deal with, seeing him deal with how that is, look, I don't have definitive, proof that these people did what they're being accused of, so I can't kill these kids. That feels like, that's an interesting take to have on it. And then the idea that is played with in the beginning of the first episode, when he's in the hospital and he's meeting with the guy from Schitt's Creek, when he's talking to him and he goes, it comes off a little, you're the racist guy who kills, white ones. I can't control the race of people who do it. And then, there's a whole conversation about, you watch people of color way more than you watch, white people. And then we get into who his father is and what his father believes and how his father is a huge white supremacist. And then it's like he goes in jail, and he goes to jail, and then they're, I thought that we were putting the soups in Arkham or Bellerive, and he goes, they're at capacity, we're at overflow now, we gotta put them here. and he's the white dragon. And I thought that was a really cool touch. I really like that that's going to be an underlying thing in this, is this idea of, white supremacy going behind this character. I really like the undercurrent that they have going with that. I think it works very well for the show. What else was there? It's really funny. I think that I could have done without the eagle, because the eagle hasn't really added too much to the show, and the CGI at times is just distractingly bad, and I don't know if that's the point, or if it's just the CGI is distractingly bad, but either way, it's not something that I'm 100% gung-ho about. So I think that they could have probably done without the eagle. Not probably, they definitely could have done without the eagle. And I think that he's got a lot of really great jokes, and it feels like they really got the character. And when they were doing the movie, they knew what was going to stick about the character, and I think that maybe I didn't give enough credit on that front. But him talking about what's it called? Him talking about the when he comes over, he just says, "Hey, Sweet Cheeks, come over here." And they get into an argument over if Sweet Cheeks is an insult, and he's like, "No, Sweet Cheeks is an insult. Sugar Tits is an insult." And it's a really funny bit that they do for a little bit on that. It's very much worth a watch, I think. And if you're into that kind of thing, over the course of this show, you become very well acquainted with the anatomy of John Cena. Something I probably could have done without, but even if it is played for laughs, it is kind of weird, I think, because it doesn't really add anything to the thing, to the scenario, besides just absurdity, I guess, would be the case I could make, is that it adds a level of absurdity to the whole proceedings, where it's he's having this discussion with this guy in the hospital, and, it turns back to him, and his ass is hanging out, but he's great. He plays such an unapologetic douchebag in this John Cena that it just works very well. I'm trying to think what else is there to talk about with this show, because it's pretty straightforward. It's it's his next Suicide Squad mission, but without the entire Suicide Squad backing him up. It's just him. Where it's look, we stuck the bomb in your neck, you're no longer in jail, we can put you back in jail, but if you want to stay out, you're going to do this. And then what was the other thing? Vigilante. I don't know. There's something about Vigilante I'm not thoroughly thrilled about. Maybe it's just that I can't even think of why I'm not thrilled about this iteration of Vigilante. Because it's Adrian Chase, and Adrian Chase was, on Arrow. And it was such a well-done season of Arrow that I'm like, oh, this feels stupid. That this kid is, what's it called? This kid is there. I don't know, just something feels weird about it. And there is a very, I don't even know how to define the vibe, where it's it's so-and-so's kid brother. It's it's that kind of thing where it's he knows them, and they're talking about people like that. I can't even put my finger on what it's like. But, yeah, it's it is interesting that this is the take they're going with, and that it's working so well. I do have, what was, I don't know, I feel like there's, I feel like Peacemaker's powers are not exactly well defined in the show. I feel like that's a little bit of a detriment. If they spent 5 minutes being okay, so he's not, is he just a marksman? Is he a super soldier? Is he more than that? Because I think it's just he's just very good with weapons. He's just the best fighter with any weapon ever created ever. It's just his thing. But at the same time, why is that what's it called? Why is that more of an asset? And how can he survive, all the stabbings he takes, all the buildings he falls out of, all the, all that kind of stuff? Like, it feels like it's something that if he was a super soldier or something similar, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But for whatever reason, I'm getting hung up on the fact that it's like, he's just a guy. And I feel like that's a weird thing to get hung up on. But I am. So, yeah, I mean, I do like that aspect of it. And I do like I think there's a lot that goes well into the show. John Cena's great. John Voight, I believe, is the one who's playing his dad. I don't know any of the other cast members' names besides Steve A.G., who plays the same guy he played in the Suicide Squad. He's great. He plays a great, punching bag character, who's there to get made fun of constantly. And he does it so well, where he's just, taking it constantly from everyone on all sides. It's so funny. His scenes with Peacemaker are great. So yeah, I mean, this has turned me around a little bit, I think, on the DC shows that are spinning out of movies. I think that if this is the quality we can expect, then, that's a good thing. I think that, and the thing is too, it's I hate comparing it to Disney Plus, but Disney Plus is the only other streamer who has TV shows based on movies that are spun out of the movies, and, with Mandalorian and with, what's it called, with all the Marvel shows and with Book of Boba Fett, it's and even with, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and other shows like that, it's there's a certain time investment that goes into making sure that the show is, you have to be committed to the show for a certain amount of time to do it. It takes 3 episodes of WandaVision to get to the part where Geraldine is your brother, he was killed by Ultron. And then it's like that thing that breaks her out of the illusion the first time. That is, that's a big, that's a big moment, but it takes 3 episodes to get there. And then the 4th episode is explaining everything that happened. And really, those first 2 episodes could have been 1, because there's not too much of a difference between 50s and 60s sitcoms to warrant doing 2 different episodes. But I digress. I think that, I think the difference is, splitting off the making it where it's, what the couple does together versus what the couple does separately. But yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing to hit the ground running the way that this show has. The other shows on Disney Plus haven't really. And that's an important thing, because it's here's the thing. This is a show that I'm not committed with, because Peacemaker's not a character that I'm familiar with. I wasn't overly thrilled by Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad. He wasn't my favorite character. I think he worked well, and they realize it in this show. He works well when working off of someone else, and giving him a team to work off of in this way works in a weird way. But I thought that he, because he is given this opportunity to do this, I was kind of hesitant to be oh, this is going to be great, or oh, this is going to be shit. I think that the overriding, thing is, I think that to an extent they realize that on this show. They realize that, oh, we aren't going to have the Disney Plus aspect of it to be able to say, here are characters you've invested years into, because, we've known Wanda since 2015, and even by the time we reach, Civil War and Infinity War and all of that, they still feel like that we've known them longer than the 20 minutes of screen time that they've had. So it kind of makes sense that, like, you know, we've only had the one outing prior, and it was just last year, so it's not a character anyone's really connected to, and he's also a bad guy. So they're taking it seriously in so much as they're going out of their way to make sure that they make the show interesting enough for people to retain viewers, which is, you know, important for a show like this, because without viewership retained, they're not going to they're not going to well, not fuck, that's, you know, my can of soda that I had on my seat slid over. And they're not, you know, without that, they're not going to, what's what we're looking for here? They're not going to, I don't know. People aren't going to watch the show after a certain point. Like, Titans grabs you. I think that DC has had more work on television showing how to build and retain an audience. So I think they know that a little bit better than Marvel does. I think Marvel kind of banks on, we don't need to do that. Like, I feel like it's a thing that, you know, that was funny. I feel like that's a thing that was not that's needed for these shows. I think that's something that I hope Disney takes with it going forward, because their next shows are not legacy shows. Like, I don't think, like, what do they have next? Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Secret Invasion, which is a big crossover show, and there was one other, I think. What was the other one they had? They had one more. Oh, She-Hulk. But these are all characters that are new. They're not, you know, they haven't been done in live action before. Especially Miss Marvel, who's just been around since 2014. This iteration with Kamala Khan. Which is going to be great because, you know, the existence of that with the current vice president is going to create some weird, what's the one I'm looking for? Some weird pronunciation mistakes, because the vice president is Kamala and the character is Kamala. So Kamala Khan will be making her first appearance in Miss Marvel, and that's going to be a character that, you know, they have to hit the ground running on. Like, they can't do this, you know, for lack of a better word, pussyfooting around, where it's like, you know, we have to, you know, sit here and, you know the character, you're committed to the character already, so we can take the opportunity to meander a little bit and be like, oh, okay, so this is what we're doing. But because of that slowness, I don't think that they're going to have, they're definitely going to have that opportunity with Miss Marvel and with Moon Knight and with She-Hulk. It's like they have to hit the ground running, make you like the character, and bring you into a story that's going to include the character. Which Naomi does too. And Naomi does the same thing, where, like, we're going to hit the ground running with this and be like, oh, so this is what we're doing? Cool, let's get this going. So we'll wrap up there for today. I am exhausted. I'm not entirely sure why, because I wasn't up as late as I usually was either. Because I was up, because here's the thing, I started watching this at 10 o'clock, and it was 3 episodes, so I finished it around 1 in the morning. Then I fell asleep, and then I woke up this morning, and I'm like, why am I so tired today? Maybe I got more sleep than usual. But yeah, I think tonight is going to be Scream. It'll depend on what screening I can get to see Scream. I'm not enthused about Scream. But that said, I will be seeing Scream tonight. So until then, have a great rest of your week.